Hey guys, welcome back to another Nails for Newbies. This one is going to be all about water marbling, as you have seen in the title of this video. And basically we are just going to start off with some super simple stuff. What's going to marble, what's not going to marble, and I'm going to show you how to set up your nails and how to do a very basic water marble. If you guys would like to see more advanced water marbling techniques, then I'm more than willing to do them for you. So let's go ahead and stop talking for myself and jump right into it. Okay, what will marble? Basically, any cream polish that you can find anywhere on the face of the planet is going to marble. Some marble better than others. Some are rather difficult to get to marble, but you can force marble just about anything that you can find on the market. The most difficult formulations that I have found personally to marble are formulations like this. This is not saying anything negative against this polish, but it is because of the suspension needed to hold the flakies or glitter or acrylic or something like that. Anything that is suspending anything heavy in the formula, to include holographic polishes, is going to be more difficult to marble because it dries much more quickly on the water than, say, a cream formulation. So keep that in mind when you are choosing things to marble. Just like with every other video, not all cream polish is made the same way. You are going to be better off finding a marbling polish that is a little bit thicker in consistency, not super thin, and this will keep it from drying too fast on the water, making it harder to actually do your design in and harder for it to spread in the water. A couple of brands off the top of my head that marble very well are Pretty Serious Cosmetics, which we are going to be marbling with today. In the name of polish, creams marble very well. Essie marbles like an absolute champ. Their cream formulation is probably one of the best formulations I have ever used to marble. I just don't use mainstream polish very often. OPI creams often marble well as well. Again, I just don't use OPI very often. The only brands off the top of my head that just will not marble very well at all are China Glaze and Ella Plus Mia polishes. They are very difficult to marble, and it definitely takes an advanced hand to get them going in the water, if you will. Things that you are going to need to accomplish a water marble. The first thing that you are going to need is some sort of bowl. This is just a small Pyrex bowl that I stole from my kitchen to use. This is a little bit larger than what I've seen many people use to marble, but this is just what I'm comfortable with. You can use a larger bowl if that's what you want to do, or you can use a tiny little bowl if you would like to. I've seen marbling done in the caps of like water bottles and stuff. So it all depends on your preference and what you're going for. I use this type of bowl. The only thing that you want to mark is that it is deep enough for you to dip your finger into to completely cover your nail, which arguably is not very deep at all, but you do want to keep that in mind. You are also going to need water, obviously, to water marble. Excuse me, I use Aquafina water to marble. This is just what I have found works the best. However, in a pinch, I use room temperature water. Now, you will hear everybody and their mamas tell you to use room temperature water. However, it does matter which room you are gauging your temperature off of. So say your polishes are in a dark, secluded, cool place, and you grab room temperature water from your kitchen that has a bay window and is naturally warmer than the dark hole that you put your polishes into. It will not work in that nearly as well, because the water and the polish are going to be two separate temperatures. You want to make sure that whatever water you're using to marble, that it is in the same room as your polish, so that they are of equal temperature. The next thing that you are going to need is something to move the polish in the water around to make your design. I prefer this marbling tool from What's Up Nails. It is their Pure Color number 7 tool. It is very sharp and pointy. That is blurry. It is very sharp and pointy on the end, and it cuts through the polish like nobody's business. I love this. This totally changed my water marbling game months ago when I got it in the mail, but there are other options that you can use. You can use the pointy end of an orange stick if you would like, or you could use a toothpick, or you can make your own water marbling tool. I can't tell you how many amazing water marblers, if that's a word, that use a pen, like a writing pen, with a sewing pen stuck onto the end with a piece of tape, and it does the exact same thing this does at a fraction of the cost. So you're just gonna have to use what you have handy, or if you want to go out and buy something like this, you're more than welcome to. Just make sure that it is sharp and pointy on the end. Something else that you are going to need is any form of latex. Here I have Sexy Cuticles by MDJ Creations. I Peel Good from Sweet and Sour Lacquer, which is my favorite, the Born Pretty store. There are endless amounts of liquid latex that you can use, but this is going to be to protect your skin. If you don't have liquid latex, if you are allergic to liquid latex, if you don't like using liquid latex, you can use tape. I've used tape in the past. That's what I used before I discovered this beautiful gem right here called liquid latex. The last thing that is a must-have for me to water marble is a Q-tip. It doesn't have to be a pointy one like this, and it doesn't have to be a Q-tip at all. You just need some sort of medium to be able to pick up the excess polish in the bowl, which we will be talking about shortly. All right, let's get into actually marbling. So the first thing that you are going to want to do is take the bowl and the water that we spoke of earlier, and you are going to want to fill up your bowl. I fill mine up pretty full just because water is water, it's cheap. I can get more whenever I want it. And the way that I dip my nail is I go in at an angle and then I turn it around in the bowl. So I want to make sure that water is deep enough that I can completely do that underwater without hitting the bottom of my bowl with my nail. So, speaking of liquid latex, that is what I'm going to be using as my protective barrier to my skin today. If you do not use liquid latex for your barrier, go ahead and skip forward to the next part of this video. But I'm just going to show you how I apply my liquid latex. So, you start off going all the way around your nail plate. Put my latex pretty far down on the top of my finger, and then flip your hand over and do the same exact thing on the underside of your finger, because that will also have polish all over it. Okay, while that is drying, we are going to talk about undies. Samantha, why are you talking about underwear on a nail channel? Well, because when you are talking nail lingo or with nail people, and you are either referring to A, neons, or B, something that needs a white base to make the colors pop, you are going to hear that referred to as undies. To water marble, you don't have to put down a white base. This is not a necessity, but I am going to show you what it looks like over a white base versus using a bare nail to do it. A white base just simply pops the color, because you have to remember that when you are marbling, you are thinning out the polish as thin as it will absolutely possibly go, which will make it less opaque on the nail once you apply it. So to make those colors pop and stand out from one another, a white base really helps with that. Okay, so let's get into the actual marble. What you're going to do is take a fully loaded nail polish brush. You're not going to wipe any of it off, and you are going to simply place it as close to the surface of the water as you can without touching it, and you are going to let that little drop of polish fall right into the center of your bullseye. When you're water marbling, you hear a lot about a bullseye. What you are looking at right now is the bullseye of a water marble. You are simply making several rings to create the color pattern that you want in your marble. How do you know when you have enough polish in the bowl? Well, I will show you as soon as we get to that point. It is basically when your center bullseye, or the last color that you put into the bowl, stops spreading. Do you see how slow that center bullseye is spreading in comparison to the other ones? This would be a really good place to stop, so that is what I'm going to do. So, how do you make your designs? I've had a couple of videos on this. I'll link those down below if you're interested in it, but we are going to do a very simple petaled water marble. This is probably the easiest to do, and all you're going to do is start at the edge of your water marble, and you are going to drag whatever tool you are using straight down into the center of that center water marble. I like to go on either side of the bowl to make sure that they are all even, and drag it straight into the center. Again, drag it straight into the center, and as you can see, now we have 4 points. We're gonna go back in and we are going to make this 8 points in our water marble. The next step is placing your finger in the water. So you take your covered latex finger, you angle it just slightly. I wouldn't, maybe a 20-degree angle. You don't want to go straight down, you don't want to go completely flat, but you do want to have just a slight angle to it. You want to pick where you want to place your nail, like so, and I am not the best at placement, so I'm not going to go into a whole crap ton of detail here. And you just slowly dip your finger into the water, and once your nail is completely under the surface of the water, I like to twist my finger this way because it feels much more natural for me to do it this way. And then you simply blow on the surface of the water to dry this remaining polish that we are no longer going to use. And then you are going to use your little cleanup stick thing that you have, and you are simply going to wipe up the remaining polish out of the water. Bubbles. Bubbles are very common in water marbling just because when you stick your finger in the water, you are creating air pockets, which is why you want to do it at a slight angle. But there are still bubbles. You want to take whatever tool you marbled with and pop those bubbles before pulling your finger out of the water. Doing this will allow the water to lay those bubbles flat so that it doesn't show in the surface of your water, or not in the water, but the surface of your nail when you pull your finger out. When you pull your finger out, you want to do so at a slight angle and pull it out rather slowly so that the polish has time to lay flat to your nail plate. And then voila, you have a water marble on your nail. And as you can see, this is the finished product. I did smear the marble just a little bit. Just like with any design, you want to be careful when you're top coating it so that you don't smear it. I was testing out a new top coat, and it's not as good as my favorite, but it's still pretty good. But there you have it, a very basic petal marble. Now let's take a look at what this looks like without some white undies. Okay, so as you can see, I hope that you can see anyway, the difference between the vibrancy of the two nails. You don't have to use a white base because these are basically the same colors. I did end up doing more bullseyes on this nail, but as you can see, this yellow does not match. Let me show you. This yellow here does not match the vibrancy of this yellow over here on this finger. That also goes for the purple, the blue, the pink, the orange. Like it doesn't, it's just not as vibrant without a good set of underwear underneath it. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys for marbling. I hope that you guys learned something cool today while you were watching this, something that you maybe didn't already know beforehand. And make sure that you stay tuned for tomorrow's video. We are doing some heart marbles, and always, or as always rather, leave your ideas, concerns, comments, suggestions, your tips and tricks. Leave them down below and I can learn from you too. And again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!